Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Stream Chat, my show where I interview streamers about their background, what makes them want to stream, their experiences on Twitch and wherever else they're streaming. Of course, this episode, as the whole series, is brought to you by Intel and Alienware, so thank you for their support of the show. Today, I'm joined by AdmiralBahroo, my guest. How's it going, AdmiralBahroo?
It's going well, man.
Yeah.
How you doing yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. And we should address, in the past, I've had webcams for this, but instead I've got you in a panda. You're a panda drinking a drink. Is that juice?
Juice. It's
Okay.
a juice box.
Juice box. Okay,
It's
and you're in a
it's little
duck outfit.
sip. He's there. He's there to remind you to stay hydrated.
Yes, I understand. And you are. Do you describe yourself as like a Twitch variety streamer? Is that a good way to describe you, or do you have other titles?
The only other title that I have is Tiny Emotional Panda Salesman.
Okay, all right. That is. I assume that's at least a core part of your business is the panda salesman. Situation.
I would say so.
Yeah. Well, very good. So, hey, we talked a little bit before the setup of this, but this is our first time really getting a chance to chat. So it's super exciting to talk to you. When did you start streaming?
I started streaming about, I want to say somewhere around 6, almost 7 years ago. I actually started on Justin TV because I was dumb and didn't realize that Twitch TV was actually a thing.
I mean, 6 or 7 years ago must have been like Twitch had probably just become a thing.
It probably had just become a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went live because I was streaming Borderlands 2. I was attempting to stream Borderlands 2. My setup back then was, it was something back then. Like,
I mean, I feel like everyone back then was just trying to make streaming work, right? Like just the technological hurdle you had to get through to make it work is crazy.
I mean, my very first YouTube videos were me pointing a webcam at a screen.
Yeah.
Those were my first YouTube videos.
So had you done much content creation before you started streaming? Like, were you already doing YouTube stuff at that time?
I primarily started on YouTube. I did that for about 6 months or so before I decided to actually give it a shot at actually streaming. I didn't really have, I wasn't a PC player then.
Yeah.
I actually just played on console. I didn't even have a PC. And then later I ended up switching to Borderlands 2 on PC, and that gave me the opportunity to actually try streaming. My internet wasn't the greatest. I streamed at a whopping 327p. It's a very oddly specific number, but that's where we started.
And did you what was the sort of desire to start streaming? Like, why? Because back then, everybody's pumping YouTube. Very few people were trying to actually do any kind of live video. I feel like most of the time, I remember back when it was like Justin TV and Own 3D TV, and most people that were streaming like StarCraft or League of Legends, like competitive stuff. What made you desire? You were like, I'm going to start a stream and we're going to go into Borderlands.
As far as like going into, well, first I'll go ahead and, as far as like going into Borderlands, I just happened to be playing that game at the time. People were having troubles with, beating a boss called Terramorphous back then in that game. And I just made a quick video of it of like, hey, here's how you do it. I had no real interest in like being a YouTuber. But I just kind of kept making more and more guides for Borderlands as the time went on, because people just kept saying, hey, these are really nice guides. Can you make some more? And I'm like, hey, there you go. There you go, dude. And then as far as like getting into streaming, there was a new DLC coming out, and I wanted to showcase myself going through the DLC because a lot of people had asked me like, hey man, can you show like a full playthrough of how you do these DLCs? And my internet was so bad that uploading an entire playthrough of like 10 hours long would take me weeks. But it was just good enough to get like a semblance of a stream running.
Yeah, specifically a 327p stream.
Specifically 327p stream. But I had a really janky stream, and a couple people watched it and they were like, you should keep doing that. I'm like, this looks terrible, but you do you, man. And I'll keep doing it. I ended up upgrading my internet as much as I could back then. It wasn't that great. I upgraded my internet, made it look viewable back then. and I just kind of kept streaming because I enjoyed the format. I kept YouTube mostly for informational guides. It's not really, it wasn't really starting off as like let's plays. It was just like, here's how you do this, here's how you do that. And then I would stream of just like my casual, hey, let's play through Borderlands, but we're gonna do it this way.
Yeah.
Like I would do, hey, let's play through the entire game, but let's play as Krieg and let's not use any gear at all. It'd be like playing, any kind of RPG, but having no weapons, no
Right.
guns, no gear.
Sort of challenging and upping the sort of the accomplishments you could achieve.
Yeah, we did a lot of different challenge runs.
Yeah.
Throughout that, and it was really nice. I enjoyed it.
How many people did you have watching you back then?
Back then, like 20.
Was it
20? And then we started peaking at around 100-ish. Those were like my big numbers, and then I was like one of my biggest streams ever. Woo! Was like 250. I was like, hell yeah, this is great. 250 viewers.
And clearly you weren't, making money at those at that viewership, right? It sounds like you were just doing this because you enjoyed doing it.
People were donating money. I had a donation link. I never promoted it. Like I wasn't like, hey man, I need some money.
Right.
No, that's never how I wanted to run things. And it's just like, people enjoyed my content. They were like, hey man, I have this webcam. I'll get you this webcam. Could you use this webcam? I'm like, all right, sure. Here you go. I'll take it. And then they let me upgrade pieces of equipment and stuff like that. And I was getting some revenue from starting off on YouTube. So it was making enough to where I could actually consider it more. It was enough to where I was making more than what I was making as like a part-time deli slicer at Kroger.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad you brought this up because one of the questions I tried to get into on the show is sort of like, what is your background? And I learned you were part-time deli slicer at Kroger.
I was. So I started off, my very first job was at Kroger because my parents, they said, hey, you need a job. I'm like, you're right. I can't stay here all day for free. That's not how it works. So I decided to just look for jobs, and there was we had a Kroger like half a mile away, and I was like, all right, I'll go there. I started off in the meat department, mostly just sitting in the back, making cutting different types of meat for the customers, and just boring stuff, and then rinse down the place and after that. And it's like that it wasn't really anything exciting. It was like, typical retail working at a grocery store.
Right.
And then I eventually went over to the deli, which is the same thing. The only difference was I had to have customers going up, I want it sliced really thin, but still holding together, but not shredded. And then I had to explain to them that's not how turkey works. So.
And when did you make the jump from, I don't know if you had another job after the Kroger one, or what, when did you feel like you could make the jump to full-time content creator?
I feel like about half a year into being a content creator, because I won't lie, I did get quite lucky with how I ended up starting off, because I went into Borderlands 2 and there weren't a lot of people who were just making Borderlands 2 content. Right. There was the typical surge of Borderlands just typical content creators make stuff for the new game, then move on to the next one. I decided to just stick with Borderlands 2 because I didn't really care about, following a hype train all the time. I just stuck with Borderlands and created a community around that. And that's where I started. So I want to say about half a year or so, and then half a year to about a year. And that's when I ended up getting partnered. Getting partnered on Twitch back then was a real pain compared to what it is now, because
you kind of had to know somebody, right?
You had to know somebody. Okay. Like getting partnered back then was real tough, because the problem was there were no quality options back then. If you were not a partner, you streamed at your maximum bit rate, period. There was no lowering the quality so other people with worse internet can watch. No, there was none of that. There was simply this one quality, and that's all you got. In addition to that, you need to have an average of 1,000 viewers every single stream, which was, you got to think back then, that's insane. 1,000 viewers every single
Like
stream.
the
And it got to the
tiniest
point.
amount of people could do that.
Yeah. And I got to that point. I was like, I have 1,000 viewers. And I did that for multiple streams, and I kept applying for partnership, and I kept getting declined. At which point, what I ended up doing was I had 1,000 viewers, and rather than actually apply again and get probably auto denied again, because that's how it was probably done back then, I found the person on Twitter. His name was Anil. And I just added him on Twitter, and I had every single person just bomb him. I was like, please give me partner, please.
So
oh,
go ahead.
And he jumped in.
Oh, so your parents encouraged you to go get a job. You were doing this on the side. Was there ever like a weird conversation where you're like, hey, I just got partnered on this like website where people watch me play video games. I think it's going to be a real revenue generator, so I'm going to go do this full time. I mean, was there any kind of conversation around that?
No, my parents have actually been like super supportive of what I decided to do. The only thing, like, I remember the conversation with them is like, as long as you are happy with what you're doing and it's nothing illegal or immoral, we'll support you. That was basically the conversation with them, because I showed them like, hey, I'm making slightly less than what I make at Kroger, and I'm only doing this part-time. I could do this full-time. I could go all the way into it, and they supported me fully through it, and it was great.
And I assume you've always been a gamer.
Kinda, yeah. The majority of my younger years were taken up by World of Warcraft.
Yeah, no, I mean, right there with you. Like, I remember leading raids and stuff in high school, and that game came out and just kind of consumed everyone's life, I guess.
It did. Vanilla all the way through Wrath of the Lich King was when I played WoW. Once the Lich King died, that game died for me, because no other expansion could really keep up with it. And I still say that to this day. No expansion beats Wrath of the Lich King. Like, it was the best one.
Yeah.
Ulduar was the best raid they ever created, and I think Wrath of the Lich King had the best story narrative that they've ever had, and it was great. And then after that, I switched to console gaming, because I'll just be real. Like, I wanted to just get away from WoW. Like, I got away from the PC. I got away from all of that, and I was just like, I'm gonna be a console gamer now. Got an Xbox, started playing some Left 4 Dead 2. That took up the majority of my time. I had a couple friends on Xbox. We played Left 4 Dead 2. Then we took that into various other games until we eventually landed on Borderlands 2.
Yeah. And then how long did you keep streaming Borderlands for? Because, I mean, this was the game that you started figuring out more complex ways to play it, and the DLC was hitting. Like, how long were you able to maintain that before you started switching and trying other games?
Oh, man. All right. So let me put it this way. I have like 8,000 hours on Borderlands 2.
Oh, God. That is an extensive... Okay, so you're still playing Borderlands 2, it sounds like. I thought you were a variety streamer, but... 8,000
I occasionally come back to Borderlands 2. I mess around with it a little bit, but it's still like, for me personally, I'm still like completely done with it. I'm burnt out on it. I've done literally every possible aspect of the game at this point. But I still come back. I try it out. I know the people who watch me are like, oh man, I remember the good old days of Borderlands 2. And I have fun with that. But I want to say I streamed for Borderlands 2, like, from starting streaming it. I want to say like 2.5 years of streaming pretty much only one game, which I would never recommend for anyone else starting streaming.
Yeah.
Streaming one game for 2.5 years will make you go insane, because this is one of the biggest fears for any broadcaster. When I switched, I decided, you know what? I'm done with Borderlands 2. I want to move on. I want to progress my channel beyond just this one game. And I lost over half of my subscriber base and about a third of my viewership in the span of like a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Was that scary?
Oh yeah, it was real scary. I was like, oh wow, I have messed up.
Yeah.
I made a mistake, but I decided to keep with it. I decided because it's not, I mean, it's not really the viewer's fault. Like, it's not really the viewer's fault that they didn't want to watch like whatever the new game was or anything like that. It's the fact that I didn't try to do variety. Like I didn't go out of my way to go like, all right, a little bit of Borderlands 2, a little bit of another game.
Right.
Which I do that now. Like when I played a bunch of Dead by Daylight, and when I wanted to transition out of Dead by Daylight, I was like, all right, half Dead by Daylight, half another game, half a Dead by Daylight, half another game, a little bit of Dead by Daylight, a bunch of other games, and then I just started slowly phasing it out. And everyone was like, "Oh yeah, cool, that's cool, that's
Yeah,
great."
you got to slowly ease them into the other games.
Yeah, you got to ease them into the other games because they're really happy watching their one show. They come in every day. They know what you're playing. They like that one game, and they want to watch that one game. And it's not their fault, that you decided to change it. You decided to flip the channel to a different game. It's like they want the remote back. So, that would be if I had to change anything, it'd probably be more like implement more variety into what I was doing before actually making the switch. But I did end up getting lucky again, because I still kept going ping-ponging between variety and Borderlands 2. It wasn't until there was a tournament for the Binding of Isaac Rebirth. It's called the Balls of Steel, hosted by Richard Hammer and Cobalt Streak. I decided to go into that tournament, and that's when I decided to actually like make a big change into variety. I went into that tournament, not really having much in the way of like any experience with that, and I had the most insane run for like the preliminary, and they were like, "Come on in," and that was viewed in front of thousands of people,
Right.
and everyone was like, "Wow, he must be really good." They don't know I just got lucky, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah. So what is it, do you think that has allowed you to succeed as a variety streamer? Because I feel like such a small amount of people on the platform can be a full-time variety streamer. Like most of the time, they're committed to Hearthstone, or they're committed to League of Legends, or they're the battle royale people. Sorry, they're the battle royale people. And I look at your stream and you're playing Kingdom Hearts, or you're playing, like all the new games that come out, you're playing whatever you feel like it at any given point in time. So what allows you to find that success?
A lot of that success comes from nurturing a community that is that likes me for me. Doesn't matter what the game is, this is the kind of playthrough they can expect from me. And every streamer is kind of the same way. Like, I don't like forcing, like, I'm going to do a negative run or a positive run. No, I'm going to do the Bahroo run,
Yeah.
This is how everything is going to go. Everything's going to be failed. A lot of people are going to die, and somebody's going to be over there screaming, "What the hell's going on?" That's every single playthrough of every game ever. And also I seem to find every possible glitch in every game. I don't know what it is. It's a curse.
Oh, go ahead.
But like, as far as like finding success, a lot of advice I would give other streamers: don't follow whatever the top main game is. Like, don't do that. I would recommend finding a niche game that doesn't really have too much in the way of viewership, but is still going to be around for a long time, and slowly grow a community in that. Kind of like what I did for Borderlands 2, just don't do it for 2.5 years. I wouldn't recommend that part. But trying to jump into, let's say, I want to be a League of Legends streamer. I see everybody playing that. I'm really good. Let's play it. Nobody's going to find you. You will literally have to hit the scroll bar for like an hour before they even find your channel, and nobody does that. The majority of viewers on Twitch are going to scroll down maybe a little bit, and then they get lazy.
Right. So it's about trying to find sort of the niche game or the games that people aren't really, there's not too much competition, and trying to make a name for yourself there.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not really about like competition. It's not really like competition. I don't like viewing other broadcasters as like I have to be better than them. I need more viewers than them. I mean, there was definitely a point I was like, wow, that guy has more viewers than me. What's he doing so different? And
Yeah.
when in reality, it doesn't really matter. Like the majority, the reason that person has so many viewers is because that entire community loves watching that person for whatever it is they're doing. It's not because of the game, it's because of them. Like, um, when I'm like, when I when I was playing Borderlands 2, there was occasionally this like big streamer that would just like walk into town, play it, and have thousands of viewers. I'm like, what's he doing so differently? Is he playing the game better? No, he's terrible at it. What? I don't understand. And that's when I started to realize you don't need to be good at video games to be successful on Twitch. You don't need to be the best. You don't need to be amazing. You just need to be entertaining. You need to take whatever it is that you're doing and make it entertaining.
Well, you mentioned the community, and I gotta say, during this entire chat, oftentimes whenever I'm just having a back and forth as an interview on stream, like the chat tends to get kind of quiet and listen. Your chat just continues to spam love emotes and all this. What do you think? It seems like your community is so positive, uplifting, connected with you. How have you created and crafted and contributed to this community that's sort of spun up around you of all these people that come in and watch and are so supportive?
Well, I can tell you it's not a simple process to have a chat that is willing to see. A lot of people will say my chat's dead or chat's slow. This isn't a bad thing. And people need to get out of that mentality that a slow chat is a bad chat. Because really, you have to realize you have X amount of people still just sitting there watching you. Maybe they don't want to chat. Maybe they don't want to get all excitable. And that's how I've kind of run my community. It's like, there are times where I'll have like 8,000 people watching, but like 20 people chatting.
Mm.
And that's just because they're all there. They're just sitting there lurking. Somebody will mention it and they're like, man, this chat is slow. What is going on? And I'll just, this is where I bring out prop, where I had a duck call and I would do like a duck call and all the ducks would pop up. So chat, imagine a duck call happened because I don't know where it went.
I'm sorry that you can't find it. I'm sure it would be amazing if you had been able to do that. We all believe that. We'll just pretend that you did.
But I'll pretend we did. Oh, wait, here it is.
That's great.
And that little sound will bring out like hundreds of viewers.
So you just need to figure out ways to push their button, I guess.
I mean, you don't really need to figure out ways to push their buttons. When people feel like, interacting and chatting with you, they're going to interact and chat with you. It really depends on game to game. Like another thing about Twitch is trying to figure out what kind of game is good for streaming and what kind of game isn't. Story heavy games are usually very bad for chat interaction because I'm not going to be talking with my chat while all the characters are talking or while I'm voicing the character or whatever. And no one wants to, they don't want to talk because they don't want me to interrupt the story to talk to them.
Right. So do you try to avoid those games?
Soft.
Or do you just go for it anyway?
Depends on what it is. Like sometimes I'll go for it anyway. It kind of depends. I typically go out of my way to kind of avoid them, but I've had some success with them. You just have to approach them in a different manner. Like I did a bunch of visual novels. It was the Zero Time series. I forget what it's actually called, but it was 999 VLR and then something Zero Time Dilemma. I forget what that one's. Oh, it's the Nonary series. And that was a whole lot of text and story. It was actually almost entirely text and story. but we still managed to actually like create a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. But going back to your community, it's such a positive chat, and I've been in a lot of different Twitch chats in the past, and oftentimes they're pretty positive, but your community is just filled with like really supportive people. Is that something that you've tried to cultivate? Is it a conscious effort on your part to try to create that, or is it just something that's occurred naturally?
The reason that I've kind of created this community is that I've kind of you have to go into each stream with a positive mindset and a positive like outlook on what's going to happen, because if you're negative, the chat's going to be negative. And I saw this a lot like when I played Dead by Daylight, and I was like, when I'm tilted, I'm salty, chat is only going to take that negative energy and they're just going to keep egging you on with it. It's not like they're mean with it. It's just, they're kind of reacting the same way that you do. And what you want to do is, I don't know, you just kind of, if people are end up like trying to be negative in your community, the best way is to just kind of like, just spin it in a different light. Just kind of like take those negative comments, take those people who are just trying to push your buttons, and just like, don't ban them right away. Like, I don't think that like just straight up banning somebody is the best way to like deal with toxicity, because it just kind of, it feels awkward. It feels weird to just like, for me to just like ban somebody just because they're typing.
Right.
Unless they're obviously breaking some rules, racist and all that stuff, get them out of here. But I'll normally interact with them and just like flip their comment in some way, and chat will usually love it. I'll be doing something boring. Like I'll be doing something boring. I'll be grinding this game over and over again. Some guy will come into my chat and be like, "Wow, this is boring. How do you play this?" And I'll just spin it as like, "I don't know, man. My stream chat's on 10-minute follower mode. Why'd you wait 10 minutes to type that?"
Yeah, that's a good one.
So
Speaking of
I've actually had people sub because of that kind of stuff too.
yeah, just
They're
kind
like,
of
wow.
turning that around and not letting the negativity get to you. In fact, trying to turn it into a positive thing, I guess, or a fun thing.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. I know this is boring as hell, but you still watching it.
Yeah.
Come on.
So on to the emotes, which is, I feel like before I even knew who you were on the platform, obviously I'd heard of you, but like your emotes just pop up in every single Twitch chat. And is this something that you've tried to create, and what's the origin of the panda? I mean, what's the whole story behind the emotes?
Okay, so it happened because, again, I won't lie, I got lucky. So the origin story of the panda comes from Rue Cry, because there was a phrase that when I was playing Dead by Daylight, there was a phrase that I would say all the time. I would say, "Aw, sad panda," because something bad happened to the teammate. Because I would play the killer, I would destroy them in some manner, and it would be sad panda, sad panda, sad panda, sad panda, and I was like, I need to get an emote of a sad panda, and so I added Rue Cry, and people loved the emote so much they used it all the time for everything. And it got to the point to where they were using it for every emotion. I'm happy, Rue Cry. I'm sad, Rue Cry. I'm angry, Rue Cry. Every message had Rue Cry at the end of it. And my chat was like, "Bahroo, you have Rue Cry. Everybody's using Rue Cry. Please, can you do something with it?" And I was like, "Rue Happy." And I started adding more and more emotions to this panda, who had a very specific look. He had a white head, the 3 tufts of hair, little V on his chest, and just this little, I don't know, just very emotional is
Yeah,
how I
a
ended
lot
up.
of energy.
A lot of energy, very emotional, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Overreacting kind of like emotion. If he's happy, he's really, really happy. So that's how it kind of ended up starting, but it didn't really explode. Like, this was just kind of in my community. I wasn't getting hand over fist of sub, right, of what we're at now. What was the deciding factor was at this point I had like 10 different panda emotes because I was slowly transitioning all of my old emotes to pandas because people love them so much. But what the big thing was, I decided to not go to TwitchCon. And that is when they announced Twitch Prime. And at that point, I had like 12,000 viewers in my chat. And that was during the big days of Dead by Daylight. And I got like 4,000 subs in a day.
Wow.
I like tripled my sub count in a day.
That's insane.
And that was the real deciding factor of like how these emotes started spreading all over places, because you have everybody using these emotes now all over Twitch, which then advertises my channel, and then they come to my channel, they sub, and then they, it becomes an expanding process. And that's how it ended up like happening.
Yeah.
That's why we're at like 22,000 subs now.
There was a clip that I saw recently of you going and finding a website, I think like Twitch Emotes or whatever, that lets you people are stealing, pirating your emotes now to their own channel.
We got some illegal pandas here on Twitch, and I'm going to be deporting them back. We got some illegal pandas.
I mean, that must be frustrating maybe, but also pretty hilarious to me that like
it's hilarious.
People are literally pirating your emotes. Incredible.
I'm sicking the cops on them. They're coming out. I'm gonna bonk them with a DMCA. I'm gonna go like, hey, this process. Well, I mean, the real reason that this is such a rampant issue is that Twitch just needs a better like method for streamers to be able to like say, hey, this is mine. This is literally mine. I've had it.
I mean, you would think if you upload a exactly duplicate image or something that
it would draw a red flag. You would think, but they don't have such systems in there yet. So, right. But I hear that that's going to eventually like start coming up to date of like ways to prevent that kind of stuff. So,
and then can you tell me who Sam is?
Sam. All right. So Sam is Samantha. She started off during the Borderlands 2 days and actually started before the panda ended up arriving. It
By the way, does the panda have a name? Is it Rue?
It's Umeru.
Okay.
So we had Sam. She doesn't look anything like she did when she was first created. It started off in Borderlands 2. I would do speed runs, and I would have this one song that I would end up playing for good luck. It was called Rescue Girl. And my chat loved it so much, we added a single emote of this Sam. Now, the Sam that we ended up pulling from was from the song. It wasn't named Sam in the song. I think it was like Patricia or something, but it was the character. And we were like, well, I need to make my own character, right? I can't just rip this and then upload it as an emote. So I need to create my own version. So we created the first iteration of Samantha, and people ended up liking it. We had these cute emotes, and it just kind of slowly petered off and slowly died off because the character didn't really shine as well until like once the panda started coming in. Like the running joke was, oh no, Sam's dying. Another panda has taken her place.
Oh no.
And then we had gotten to the point where we were on like DEFCON 1 or DEFCON 5, forget which one it is for the important one, of like, Sam is dying, we need to do something. So I commissioned a bunch of artists to like try and create a new Sam, and eventually Akai Riot managed to make the new Sam, and people loved it. They love her new look. They love
Sam Reborn.
Sam Reborn. People love how she interacts with the pandas now. It's a much more fitting aesthetic, like the way that like her clothes match the pandas and all that. People they love new Sam, and it allows me to target the weeb audience. You're out there, you IAIs. You're out there, and we've started to be able to Um, we started to be able to like create some really nice emotes and a couple of memes. People love like Rudy. That has become a very popular emote to the point where I just added a 4-part Rudy. So now both the mascots are like equally popular. One's not completely overshadowing the other.
Yeah.
They kind of like help each other out.
Well, I do have a couple more questions for you, but I need to take a quick break to do something. So, for as I mentioned at the start of the show, this show is sponsored by Alienware and Intel, both helping me highlight streamers with awesome stories, people that have been on the platform for a ton of time, people who are new to the platform. And what is very cool, AdmiralBahroo, I don't know, because we coordinated this through Erin, and I let her know about this. I don't know if she conveyed this to you, so hopefully there's no spoiler, but it's okay, and you can just act like you're surprised if that's the case. But I was able to talk to Alienware,
Okay.
and as a thank you for coming on the show, and just so that you get to keep doing your stuff, we get to hook you up with some hardware. So you get a Aurora R8, which is powered by an Intel i7-9700K. Compliments of us at Stream Chat, but also thanks in part to our partners, Alienware and Intel, for hooking you up with a computer.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm going to put that in my living room.
Very good. Well, yeah. I mean, I figure streamers can never have enough hardware, in my experience, to come up with new and
I
creative
will
ways
see
to
it
do this
as
stuff.
like I don't like you got to think my place. I go through so many PCs because like one part will die, this part will die, and I just mix and match things. My apartment is like a graveyard of computers.
Yeah.
So like I'm slowly building Cybernet with all of these PCs. So this might be the deciding factor for me.
Yeah.
This might finally be the final piece I've needed.
Yeah. Well,
So
you can also try dual PC streaming, because the just to plug the the Intel processor a little bit more, great for streaming, brand new, most recent generation. So again, thank you so much to Alienware and Intel for hooking it up, and I'll just coordinate with you and Aaron after the stream to get you hooked up with that. But it's really fun to be able to do this. So thanks to Alienware and Intel for making it happen, and hopefully this leads to even cooler streams for you in the near future.
cool.
All right. Well, moving on, I do want to talk to you a little bit about just sort of what it's like being a streamer, because a lot of people, I've talked to certain streamers who say it can be kind of lonely sometimes, because you spend all day working from home, you don't go into an office, or a traditional office, and you probably don't have very many, colleagues or coworkers. I don't know if this is something you've experienced, or if you've found ways to combat it, or what it's like for you as a streamer, sort of being on your own and talking to everybody all day.
I will say that, like, for me personally, it's not the same for every streamer. Streaming is a very, very like lonely, away from everybody kind of experience, because I spend like 8 to 10 hours on stream, and then I spend the remainder of the hours doing other off stream stuff. I don't really get a chance to talk with like real people. I mean, I talk with, you know, my mods, my community, my manager, but I don't really get a chance to like actually talk to real people and go out and do stuff. Like I'm not ashamed to admit I have no actual real life friends, which sucks to say, but I'm not exactly mad about it. I'm still happy that I have this community here, because like, any day, like there are plenty of days, every streamer's had it, where you will just feel down, feel sad, you'll feel depressed, you'll be like, man, I hate this. And I'll turn on my stream, and my chat will just be filled with like, hello. And I have to realize that when I turn on my stream, even if it's just like one person, there's somebody, when I turn on my stream, they'll come over and they'll watch my stream and they'll be like, hey man, what's up? And they're taking time out of their day to watch me. And that is probably one of the greatest feelings, and what has actually allowed me to keep going through all of the bad times that I've had myself, is hearing how much my community loves watching my channel and how much I've helped them through the bad times. And that is what does it for me. That's
Yeah.
how I get through like all the bad times for myself.
Have
Because
you
I don't want to pretend that like streaming is always sunshine and rainbows the whole way
right?
through.
Have you considered ever trying to be part of, like I feel like one of the things that is occurring as part of this is that streamers are starting to like move in together, move into the same area so that they can have like a support system or do collaborations or whatever. Has that ever been something that's interested you or piqued your interest?
I've tried it before, and I want to say that moving in with other people is usually very, very niche, and whoever you're moving in with, you gotta mix real well with that other person that you're, collabing with.
Right.
I don't really see them as that successful usually. Um, as far as like a way to like promote the channel, I don't think that constant co-op casts are the way to go, but that's just me. Other people have had success with that kind of stuff, but for me personally, I think I do way better as just like just being me, my own little corner of the internet, doing my own thing, and that's how I like to run my own channel.
Yeah. We're starting to run out of time, so just really quickly, what does the future for you look like on the platform? Do you spend a lot of time thinking about where you want to take your channel in the future, what your goals are, what you're hoping to accomplish, and even just in 2019?
Well, as far as like my goals on Twitch, we've pretty much been hitting all of them one after another. Like last year, we hit our goal of like, I want to see if we can hit 20,000 subscribers. And we did, and we're still above it. And I was like crazy. So I guess my goal for 2019 on Twitch is to achieve 25,000 and maintain that through the year. That's my plan for that. As far as like things I'm looking forward to, I'm trying to potentially branch out into things like maybe voice acting or just other things that I can kind of jump into from a broadcasting standpoint.
Yeah,
Um, that's kind of what I'm looking for.
that's cool. I mean, is that something you're pursuing pretty hard? And I mean, what inspires you to do the voice acting stuff?
I just I just like the idea around VA.
Yeah,
Around here, like, there's plenty of characters that I'll hear in games and variety of games. I'm like, I know this person. Hey, that's really cool. So I want to be able to like lend my voice into a game. That's my next thing that I kind of want to try and work into. But right now, just Twitch streaming takes up all my time.
Okay, so final question here. Is there anything you would give as advice to people who are, streaming but haven't found what they feel is success yet, or, somebody who's thinking about getting into streaming, anything like that?
My best advice, be like, I know this is going to be real, like, duh, I know that, but like, really be yourself. Don't try and like copy something that you see. Just try and be yourself, be you, and then just try and grow a community in, some smaller games and try and grow from there. And always remember that regardless of like how many people are watching you, that somebody is taking time out of their day to watch you. Like they're stopping what they're doing to watch you, and you should appreciate what you have. And don't like antagonize them like, oh man, I've only got 5 viewers, my chat's dead. Like it's going to happen. That's the rough start.
Yeah.
Most of your initial viewers are not going to be chatters. It's a slow grow. And I will also mention, don't go into Twitch expecting to get big. You can't force it. The majority of people who are big, myself included, right time, right place is what caused the big explosion of viewers. Because we all started and we started growing exponentially after that boost. So just keep doing what you do.
I know I said that would be the last question, but your chat would really like me to ask you about undies.
Yeah, I sold y'all Ruby V undies. They're not coming back. Go away.
Okay. Good. There you go, chat. I did the thing you asked. You asked that. Hey, I want to thank you so much for coming on Stream Chat, and thank you to Aaron for helping set this up. But I really do appreciate it because I know, you've got a lot going on, and it's fantastic you were able to sit down and join us for the show.
It's great being here, man. I haven't really done like an interview before, so I don't really.
You're great at it.
All right. Well, that's good to hear. This is like this is the first interview I've had. So
The first of
good
many,
to hear
I'm
I
sure.
didn't
I
mess
think
it up.
people will want to do more of this stuff on the platform and with personalities like yourself. But I think you a fantastic first interview for you, and I really appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you for having me, man. And chat, thank you for behaving. I've been watching you. I've been keeping my eye on you, chat.
do they normally go crazy? I whenever I visit your chat, they seem like they're usually.
I just got to make sure. I just got to make sure that they're behaving. Like
Yeah.
Rudy too. I'm keeping my eye on you, chat.
Well, I appreciate
there.
I appreciate them too, because they made it quite fun to do this interview as they're just spamming positive stuff, and Aaron seemingly just leading the charge on. So either way, everyone, this has been almost at Hotline Stream Chat with AdmiralBahroo. Thanks everyone for watching.